Welcome back to Into the Light, a different life story, my show on YouTube and as a podcast with me, your host, Stefan Neff. Today I've got Laurell Eden with me. Laurell is a whole health health coach, beautiful magician who changes lives by focusing on nutrition, but not in a kind of a diet way, but rather a woman who puts your body into an equilibrium with the knowledge and the skills that she gives you. And suddenly, before you blink, you think, hell, where is this weight gone? Hang on. But the weight was not really, yes, the weight might have been the cause that you actually got in touch with her. But in reality, it's the well-being. It's your mental health. It's all the other things which suddenly get so much better. And by the way, the weight is falling off. Now, there are no magic potions involved here, but there is taking action involved. So if you're just waiting for the magic cell here, I'm sorry, wrong program. Okay, but let's hear it from Laurell. Laurell, thank you so much for coming onto my show.
It's such a pleasure, Stefan. Thank you for having me. I've been listening to your podcast, and you're doing so many wonderful things for people. So it's an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. Laurell, we all have got our journeys, and you are nowadays out there, and you're very active in helping other people. But the reason that we do what we do, that we help other people, is typically that we have been in a dark place ourselves, and that we therefore realize how important our message nowadays is, because often enough it would have been a message that we would have loved to hear when we were younger and more stupid, etc. Are you happy to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. I would have paid any amount of information for the information I had now. I would have done anything for that information. Sure. So when I was 46, I mean, like anyone before that, I had, maybe put on some weight. I could go running and eat salad, and it would just, it would come off, right? All these tips, all these little things that work when you're younger. Suddenly I'm 46. I have no idea what's going on with my body, possibly hormonally, possibly having to do with insulin or leptin, or no clue of any of that. And I gained some weight. I'm like, oh, it's 20 pounds. Oh, it's 30 pounds. Oh, it's 40 pounds. Oh, it's 50 pounds. Okay, what do I do? What do I do here, right? And like everyone else, I took the traditional weight loss advice: eat less, move more, right? So I just happened to be one of those people who's very disciplined. That's one thing I have. So what I did was I said, well, maybe I'll try 1,200 calories for 2 weeks. Nope, nothing. Maybe I'll try 1,000 calories. Maybe I'll try 900, as little as 750 calories a day. I am not suggesting anyone do this. It didn't work anyway. I'm a little embarrassed about it, but I was desperate. And nothing was working. And I was counting my calories, right? Not realizing how I was sabotaging myself. I was also moving, because that is also the recommendation, right? So you and I were joking, and I said when I was working out, I wasn't doing sweating to the oldies, like the old Richard Simmons, right? If anyone remembers that. I was doing things like P90X Kempo or Insanity with Shanti. And, as much as I love Tony Horton and Shanti, I'm a little in love with Shanti, actually. Looking at Shanti is my cardio. That is my cardio. So, but it wasn't working. I'm sure I was getting health benefits in a way of my muscles, my cardiovascular system, all that, which is wonderful and beautiful. But my primary goal was to lose weight, and that it wasn't working. And then I found some information. The first person I found was Dr. David Ludwig, was doing some studies on metabolism that were not funded by food companies or people that want to sell you meal replacement shakes, or he was getting the funding for these studies. And I started to realize that 100 calories of gummy bears is not the same. Not that I was eating gummy bears, right? But 100 calories of gummy bears is not the same as 100 calories of almonds or walnuts or anything else that's a real food. That these things act metabolically in your body very different. Like a calorie is a calorie in a lab, but not in the human body. And this is the thing that keeps everyone, to put it bluntly, I guess, sick and fat. And when I found this information, I was finally able to dig more. This is me digging, I guess, if anyone's watching. Digging. Don't ask me what kind of animal this is. I think I've been watching nature.
That's programs. That's a doggy paddle.
Okay. I was able to dig and find more people like Miriam Kalamian and other people that were saying the same thing and able to finally lose weight in such an incredible amount of time that I am now teaching people. Yeah.
Indeed. And you're so right, because over the last 50 years, the social engineering has made us believe that those things that we buy in a supermarket are actually food. Now, food is actually labeled, if you look at definition, as something that is sustaining your life. Now, the mixture of chemicals that you see out there, which are perfectly engineered to get you hooked, are not really there to sustain your life. They're there to make big companies a lot of money. So 80-90% of what you see in the supermarket is probably not food. Let's be quite clear about that. It's well labeled, well packaged, well marketed crap.
Yes. And that is one of the things I tell my people, right? So I know right away, I don't go easy on people. I'm like, you see, I do a lot of humor. We have to keep it light, but we're talking about things that are very serious. So the humor is helpful, right? Because it gets people to relax. But at the same time, that's what I tell them. I say, when you look at all these labels of all these things, high fructose corn syrup, all these chemicals, and you think, oh, someone's looking out for me, right? Someone's making sure I can actually eat this, right? No, actually, no. And just because you can eat something and not die immediately doesn't mean it's not poison, right? So then they start to think and they're like, ooh, oh, and it starts to rewire their thinking to the point where they look at something that previously they wouldn't have given another thought about. And now they're like, oh, like you said, it's either food. There's no such thing as unhealthy food. It's either food or it's not food.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. And I'm embarrassed because I can't now recall the crap. So CRAP, which is of course the swear word, but it's also a mnemonic for those things that you should avoid eating. So P is highly processed food. R is highly refined sugar. C and the A lacks me now. But ultimately, I thought this is actually quite a good mnemonic, for crying out loud. And
I'm going to look that up.
No, the reality is we have been socially engineered, and it is once you actually start this journey on recognizing how we came to the place where we are now, and the belief systems that we have got now when it comes to going shopping, being out there, it is actually, it's like a horror story. It is, embarrassing to see how much demagogic and how much manipulation has gone into our lives to bring us to the point where we are right now. And that is really the reason why there is this obesity pandemic in the world. Why that is the reason why between 2 and 4% of the population have got obstructive sleep apnea, for example. So that's a disease that is interesting for me as an anesthetist because it happens to kill you. and it can kill you on my operating table. And the paperwork is tremendous when that happens. So I just, no, I hate paperwork and I hate people dying. So, and especially in my work, no. Yet 4% of the patients have got a serious disease that is purely due to them eating the wrong things. So therefore, I've got a vested interest here to actually get that message across. And I'm a big boy too. So there are other reasons that we eat. So whilst we can blame big companies and social engineering and, there are many more reasons why we eat. How was that with you? I mean, the reason that you were ballooning at one stage, it's not because of lack of knowledge, 100% would be my educated guess. Were there other reasons that contributed to you seeking refuge in food?
Yeah, well, I think what happens is we get into these cycles, right? So I thought I was eating healthy, but I thought that pasta was healthy. Right? Okay, I thought pasta was healthy. And sure, you can have pasta once in a while, right? But you can't eat it every day. Yeah. Well, some people can, right? Everyone is different. Everyone's metabolism is different. Everyone will eat different portions, right? But, rice noodles. Like my problem was this is a funny example. I tried being vegan and I actually gained 8 pounds. Because I ate nothing but rice and noodles, right? And then I'm like, what is going on here? I'm not eating fat. I don't get it, right? Fat in quote for anyone listening and not watching. So, but what would happen was, for whatever reason, maybe I was starting to become insulin insensitive or leptin insensitive, the hunger hormone, right? I was hungry just all the time. And I probably started where I was just eating more. And then my weight started to balloon, and then I'm exercising and counting my calories and not knowing what's going on. And then when I was at the point where I was eating, say, 800 calories or 750 calories and still either gaining weight or maintaining weight or maybe losing 1 or 2 pounds. And you saw my pictures, so you know that the struggle is real, right? Then what would happen was it wouldn't be sustainable, because I'm starving myself, right? For 3 weeks, I'm cranky, I'm hungry, I'm cold. And what happens when you pull a rubber band back, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? You're like starving, cold, cranky. And then finally you say, I'm not seeing any results. So let's go eat a quart of ice cream. Let's go eat an entire package of cookies or whatever. And then that, of course, just makes it worse. So I'm happy now that I had that experience, because I know what other people are going through, right? Having had that experience. But I thought I was doing everything right. Eat less, move more. I thought that's all there was to it. Yeah.
And it's a fallacy, isn't it? It is very, very true. Maybe at one stage in your life, it still works like that. But certainly once you hit middle age, that goes out of the window. We know that damn well, sure.
Yeah, because I think when we're so young, we have so much muscle mass, right? And we tend to be more active. So we're, I don't know how scientific you want to get, but I mean, basically you're burning through your sugar storage more easily when you're younger, because you're moving, you have more muscle mass, you're just burning more energy. And so you're forcing your body, I believe, more often to burn fat to make sugar and energy for the body, which as you get older and you're sitting down and maybe losing muscle mass, you're maybe not using as much energy. And this is what I suspect was going on with me, right? Until I found this information. Yeah.
If it was just so easy, in my case, I would love it. I would have loved it to be this easy. For me, food was always a feel-good factor, as in when I was down, I was eating. Okay, when I was not someone who was depressed and not eating. On the contrary, and still today, after a long day or long weeks of long days, where I have not paid attention to my own well-being, where I did not have a good balance between sport, lifestyle, and work, I think, ooh, I want a cheesecake. And I make that 2 cheesecakes. Okay. And that is the problem. So for me, there is a lot of emotional overeating. That is where sugar, or the perfect combination of all the crap, actually makes me go, oh, beautiful. Oh, that's like a warm hug. And
Sure.
I think that is for many people the big downfall. In the 90s or 2000s, it was called the Bridget Jones Diary. You've got basically Bridget Jones diet, because in the morning you've got 2 salad leaves, at lunchtime you have got maybe 4 salad leaves, and then in the evening you have a 5-kilogram tub of ice cream. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember asking myself those questions. I remember asking myself, like, why am I eating this as I'm eating the ice cream, right? Like, why am I eating this? And I would hear an answer, and I'd say, because you want to taste something sweet in your mouth. Like, you want something sweet. The sweetness I was looking for, though, was like, now, I'm hugging myself here, right? For, like the sweetness, like in my life, I was looking for sweetness. So the same thing. And then, we talked about the rest of that. So it's unfortunate, right? And it's real. And though, happy news that a lot of people don't know is I've had a lot of people who have gone through my program who swear they're sugar addicts, swear, oh, I'm up 3:00 in the morning, the ice cream calls me from the freezer, right? And we have a nice joke about how the ice cream calls you, but the broccoli never does, right? The broccoli never.
He's a very, very quiet vegetable.
Yes, but there's actually a biological reason for that. And if you go back, 100,000 years, or even, even just before refrigerators and grocery stores, right? Whenever fruit was available for our ancestors, it was very important that we eat as much of it as possible, because winter was coming, famine was coming, food was uncertain for our ancient ancestors. So any opportunity, there's sugar, there's fruit on a tree, the pleasure centers in the base of the brain light up for a reason, right? The same way that they would for, cocaine or anything else like that. And the signal is eat all the fruit on the tree, eat as much as you can, pack on fat, because you're gonna need that. And unfortunately, that doesn't work in a modern world where we can get candy bars at 3 a.m. from a gas station convenience store, right? So, but it actually does work. We are genetically hardwired to keep eating sugar when it's available. Now, this sounds funny, but when you stop eating sugar for maybe even just 2 weeks, the body, the brain will stop craving that sugar. For our ancestors, from a biological standpoint, we'll stop craving the sugar, because for our ancestors, when sugar disappeared from the diet, it was no longer in season. Now, for us, that seems ridiculous, because sugar's in everything. And sugar, why would sugar be in season, right? But for our ancestors, especially if you didn't live in a tropical climate, we're talking about late summer and early autumn would really be the only time these harvest foods were available. So there is a lot of thought, and I tend to agree, that the body assumes when you eat these things that the design, rather than the assumption, the design is eat as much as you can because winter is coming. But if you stop eating it, you actually stop cravings. So I've had people who tell me, I'm a sugar addict, 3 a.m, eating the ice cream, go through my program, And between the education, which rewires their thinking about what is food and what is really not food, and the fact that we just get them off sugar just for a couple of weeks. And they're like, well, yeah, I'm like, look, you can do anything for a few weeks. Just tell yourself it's not forever. It's just a couple of weeks. Those same people, one woman told me, someone put out a tray of cookies at work. Now, like grocery store cheap cookies. I'm not saying someone baked cookies or they got them from the local bakery, right? Where you know that even though there's sugar, there's not awful things in there, right? Grocery store cookies out at work. And she looked at it and she goes, oh God, who would even eat that? And I'm like, yes, my work is done. My work is done. Yeah, because between the combination of actually getting her off sugar just for a couple of weeks, right? The biological component at least lowers. And that's a huge part of it. It's a huge part of it. It's that those constant cravings will lessen significantly. That's been my my observation with everyone that I've coached.
Very true. No doubt about it. And I think it's worthwhile that since we have gone a bit into the survival instincts and the way we are programmed, it's also important to say that if you massively reduce the calories, if you come to the 750, etc., that is really starvation. That's an emergency trigger for your body. What does your body try to do? It tries to get every single calorie, every single bit out of that food and stores it where? In your fat, because it wants to keep reserves there, because otherwise you're dying. Okay, if it just says, oh, hey, let's party, there's a bit of a calorie, let's go nuts, let's feel good, let's do exercise, and then there is nothing left in your glycogen stores, there's nothing left everywhere. So your body, when you're starving yourself, reducing the calories to really low levels, that's actually a really powerful way of not losing weight.
Right. Yes. Yes. And then it just starts a cascade of chemicals in your body, which isn't good for anything. Not good for thinking. Not good for performing on an everyday basis. Anything. So that's why when maybe you should talk a little about what I do teach people and how to eat and why it is sustainable, because if you're not counting calories, but rather you're eating food, right? And for what I do with in my 12-week program is I gradually wean people off things, right? And between weeks 5 and 10, what you're doing, number one, you're drinking more water because you need to take stress off your body, right? We're doing green smoothies for a variety of reasons. I feel like let's add something good. There's no point in taking out the McDonald's and the pizza if you're still eating the packaged food from the okay, let's add some good, right? So, and then we gradually wean off. And between weeks 5 and 10, what we're eating is mostly vegetables, low glycemic vegetables. So no beets, no white potato, no, and I'll explain more about that. But low glycemic vegetables, mostly vegetables. I try to get people to do that. And whatever protein they like, eggs, dairy, as long as they're not having a reaction to it. I don't want to shock people too much, right? As long as they don't seem to be having symptoms from the dairy, we're okay with that. If they want to eliminate it later in the program to see how they feel, it's something we talk about. Whatever meat, fish, seafood, any of that, a couple of handfuls of nuts, right? And also all the drupes. The drupes are the fruits with the big pits. So the olive, avocado, unsweetened coconut, right? So, and if you can eat all that and you don't have to count your calories, and you can eat until you're full. Like people say to me, really, it's okay if I have another avocado? I'm like, yes, it's okay. Eat another avocado. It's really okay if I take another handful of unsweetened coconut. Yeah, totally fine. Pick on the olives, eat as much as you want until you're full. And then the hunger signals actually start to normalize. And they lose weight. So isn't that easier? isn't it easier to just be able to eat until you're full and not be hungry than it is to count all your calories and starve so you can save 100 calories for a piece of candy?
No.
Right? Like, isn't it so much easier? And that is why I think not only that people lose weight, right, from eating this way, but it's sustainable. They tend not to gain this weight back because they know, oh, right, I'll just go back to this for 5 weeks. Let's see, did I get to my goals? Am I, and then they can modify a little bit. Now, am I saying to people they can never have another piece of cheesecake? No, of course not. And we even talk about this. I talk about these sorts of things, like you're going to a birthday party. Make a decision ahead of time. Are you going to eat the cake? Yeah, I'm going to have a piece of birthday cake. Fine. But then tell yourself, part 2, tomorrow, I go back to eating what we call phase 3. Right? So that's the part that usually gets us off the rails, is we're like, well, I already had the birthday cake. I might as well have the pizza. And I already ate pizza. I might as well, right? That's what happens. So yeah, so even if you go on vacation for a week, you set a limit. This is what I tell people. You just set an end date on it. You say, I'm on vacation. Right? I'm on vacation. I want to have my tacos and, or some variation of that. But, I'm going to get back on the scale. I'm going to measure my waist, right? See what happened after my little holiday. And maybe I need to go back to phase 3 for a couple of weeks, right? So it's sustainable and it's doable. I'm not the food Nazi, Yeah.
Well, you're talking to a German skinhead. So I loved a reference. Thank you very much, because by definition, I'm one hate tattoo away from a hate crime. But no, kidding. I would be the worst extremist because I can't stand extremism. No, but if we're talking Nazis and extremism, then we need to also talk about going all the way out to fasting.
Yeah.
What is your stance when people say, well, actually, I would like to do a complete fast and would like to rehydrate myself and do not have any food, because I believe it actually helps my metabolism to reset itself. What is your attitude towards that?
Yes, I actually, this is what I tell people. I do give them a little taste of that in the program. It's usually a surprise, but we're talking about it now, so I'm letting it out of the bag. But I wait until week 8 to talk about these things with them, because by that point, they've already been eating for 5 weeks or so, for a few weeks, for 3 weeks or so. They're not as hungry. And their body has switched over from sugar burning to fat burning, right? At that point, we are, the whole mechanism of this is that if you keep eating sugar, your body will just keep storing it, right? But if you stop eating sugar, your body can reverse the process through which it made the fat, right? It can burn that fat and transform it back. I mean, of course, this is simplified, but it can transform that fat back into glucose to use for the body. But it won't do that if you keep eating the sugar. Right. But once that, and there it is. Right. And that's, and this is the thing that keeps everyone sick. But I don't introduce these concepts to them until they're at least eating this way and their body has made that switch. Right. That has made that switch. Fat burner, sugar burner. Right. Okay. Sugar burner, fat burner. And now they're burning fat. They're not as hungry. And now we can talk about this. I do believe it is beneficial. All the studies and everything I've seen with my people and with myself, right, seems to indicate that different from calorie deprivation, right? So you're breaking up your little 700 calories a day into small meals throughout the day. Yeah, that actually has been shown to damage metabolism, right? It's the opposite of what we think. However, intermittent fasting, like either shortening the amount of hours that you're eating during the day, or fasting, very different. These things have been shown to heal metabolism. We're not only talking about fat burning, you're a doctor. Most people hear about metabolism, they don't necessarily think about their health, their cell metabolism, their like what's going on in their body, but it will tend to improve, increase health metabolism as well as fat burning metabolism. So these are things that if someone is up to it, and they want to try, say, don't drink water, don't eat till, 1 p.m, and then try to eat dinner reasonably early, right? So we're just talking about lunch and dinner or breakfast and lunch. If they want to experiment with that and they're not starving, right? Sure. If someone feels like they're ready to try something, I mean, Nobel Prize in 2016, and I'm forgetting the scientist's name for science and medicine, was all about autophagy. That if we stop eating, the body will always prioritize digestion, right? But if we stop eating and the body is not digesting food, it then starts to do DNA repair, cellular repair, detox. Like, so you're going to be healthier if you're not eating all day, especially if you're not eating, what did you say? Crap. Yeah, crap.
I mean, so I will actually look it up, this acronym, and we'll put it down there into the description, okay? So here you go. So not just will you hear all the information about Laurell down there, but also you'll get the crap, the real crap, and nothing but crap. See, when can you swear on a show as nice and easily like that? Hey, that's a bonus. I like today's show.
Absolutely.
And I think it's fair to say. So even as a young man, I did fasting, and it just felt good, and it was bang. You dropped 10 kilograms, no big deal. And for me, the fasting was always nice. After 3 days, there is no more hunger. So full stop. There is, I go all out there, not the intermittent fasting, doesn't work for me so well, but I'm going all out. And yeah, 2-3 days, you're so in ketosis, there is no more hunger, and you just get on with life. And there's a nice clarity in my head. For me, it works really well. My downfall was always that I went from a cheesecake diet to fasting, and then straight back to the cheesecake diet. And funnily enough, the weight loss did not maintain itself. I wonder why that was. Yeah, exactly. And that was for a long time where I went wrong. And where I still let's rephrase that. I was about to say where I'm still wrong today. I'm still a big man. However, whilst I'm fat, luckily I'm fit and healthy to a degree. So that is good. Also, I'm still going through a hell of a lot of crap. Shit, I need now to say, because I'm going through, there are challenges in my life. There are challenges which put me in a survival mode, which put me into this, oh my God, let it stop kind of thinking. And then food comes to the rescue. I let it come to the rescue because I prioritize that actually, yes, I have eaten the whole day healthy, and right now I actually want that cookie, or I want that piece of chocolate, or that whatever it is. That is my personal choice. And it's all about choices and realizing, okay, this is my choice. But then I also have the choice to say, okay, yesterday was a pity party and it was a shit day. And you said, yeah, okay, you did what you did. Now, no guilt, no shame. That was yesterday. Now today is a new day. So today, okay, what can you do to actually get yourself back on track? And I think that is the ongoing journey. So that's where you are not about diets. You are about actually living a life that is full of beauty, full of nurturing your body with those things that you really, really need. And in your case, these are the right amount of foods, the right amount of emphasis on the food. Because what you're doing is you have exchanged the calorie counting, so spending time on counting calories, with spending time on thinking about food and celebrating food for what it is, something that
Yes.
actually nourishes you, and without it you would die. So let's celebrate that. Let's celebrate. Let's be
Yes.
positive about it. As food is not negative. Food is a
Right.
wonderful thing.
Yes. And I actually have people go through exercises in the first 2 weeks of the program are really a lot about more about the mindset piece. You know, they're asking themselves questions. Was I hungry before I ate? You know, and it's all about awareness. I call it the bust yourself tracker, but it's not like busting like you're bad. It's that you're busting your thinking. And I tell them it's just about awareness. That's all, just about awareness. But I actually have them do things like, look at those Brussels sprouts. Look how beautiful they are. Because we don't look at our food. It's something we put in our mouth, but we're not having an experience. And there's lots of reasons. You're getting your body prepared to digest. But if you're actually looking at what you eat, not unlike look at the people around you, look at the world you're like, get in the moment, right? All of that is the same. But with the food, I go, look at the asparagus. Look how pretty it is. Like, and people go, oh, you know, it is. So it starts to feel almost like a little treat to eat the vegetables. Gee, what a rewire. Like, oh, I did so good on my presentation today. I did so great at my workout. I deserve a treat. I'm going to eat some salmon and broccoli.
But by doing so, I treat myself often enough. For example, if I was now on a trip somewhere and I would do a workout in the hotel and then go actually to a restaurant. Now, the salmon and the asparagus would rather be on the top end of the scale of the money-wise. So I'm actually literally treating myself. I know, okay, I'm paying a bit more, but this is the most beautiful salmon fillet that I could possibly imagine. And it is this treat. It's a true treat to myself. Now, the burger with the
Right. I
chips
like
would have been
that.
a fraction of the costs, but no, I'm actually I'm happy to pay for the quality and make it a treat, make it a celebration for myself, and that works really well for me. This is
I
actually
love that.
convincing your head. Hang on,
Sure.
this is again, this is a choice. This is you taking action. And by taking
Yes.
action, you take responsibility. And that is beautiful. And you look at it and you eat it. And because you know that each fork costs you probably about $2-3, you think, okay, I better make that count. Okay. So there you go.
I love it. All of these mind shift things, right? And even it is appropriate. You know, at times, if you're going to eat sugar, I tell people, make sure it's sugar, like real sugar. You know, is it the most healthy thing in the world? No. Okay. Have you, but if you've gotten to your goals, right? And you're feeling better, you look better, your blood pressure is good, you're not diabetic, right? And you want to eat a little ice cream, just make sure it says sugar there and not high fructose corn syrup, right? High fructose corn syrup, your body can't even use it for energy. Pretty much all of that is going to get stored as fat before it can be burned and used for energy. So that then that's a whole other topic of metabolic syndrome, right? But if you're going to eat the cookie, enjoy the cookie. If in the moment you're saying to yourself, I'm going to eat the cookie, this is the only cookie I'm going to have. That's it, right? So in that moment, don't wait till tomorrow. Say, I'm going to enjoy this cookie. I'm going to enjoy this bowl of ice cream. But in that same moment, say, And for the rest of the week, that I eat real food. But right now, I'm going to eat it because then you're again in the moment, enjoying the ice cream. Oh, this is really good. It's delicious, right? As long as it's, like I said, real sugar, and because then you're eating it and you're like, oh, this really tastes good. Because how satisfying is it? We're looking for sweetness. We're looking for an experience. And then we're not even allowing ourselves to experience it. Because the whole time we're eating the ice cream, we're saying, I shouldn't be eating this. I shouldn't be eating this. I should. Exactly. So we haven't even enjoyed the experience. And of course we don't feel satisfied. Right. And it's like that in every area of our lives, right? If we're not present for it, if we're not there and taking it in and soaking in the moment,
That's a key thing. You're so right. It is. That's what we need to learn. We need to learn to appreciate the moment, and the moments for the moments which we have the honor to live, because some people don't get that honor. Some people don't have that chance because their life is cutting short, or they had yesterday a diagnosis of cancer, or they had things, all the shit that is at the moment hitting us here in this world. So there is a lot of stuff going on, no two ways around it. Therefore, you don't know what tomorrow brings. So you might as well, right now, live that moment and live it to the fullest. And if that moment contains an ice cream, live it to the fullest. Enjoy the gelato, and that's fine. That's fine. Go for it.
And if you're going to live, I mean, I had a little ding, 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 a little like awakening second. I said, oh, what if everything goes right and I live to 90? Boy, I better be healthy.
Now, the good news is,
although I'm eating this way once in a while, I need to think long term, right? And say, so that's, didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Not at all, not at all.
Yeah.
And I think the good news is, guys, you automatically might think in your head, oh, come on, I'm what? We're both in our 50s. We're, if you might look at yourself out there and might think, okay, I'm in the wrong age group. I've eaten unhealthy all my life because I didn't know better and for many reasons. Come on, there's no way. I'm already diabetic, as if I could make a change now. Well, listen, yes, you can make a change because many of those things are reversible, not irreversible, means you can't do anything about it. If anyone tells you that, you slap that stupid bugger left and right, okay? Because that is not true. And equally, if that little voice in your head tells you that, you turn around to that voice and say, beep, okay? So whatever you wish to insert here, you go there. Because that's your voice, that's your private conversation. No one will say anything about it. So I want you to tell that voice, bugger off, because you can change a hell of a lot. You can cure diabetes. People say, what? No way. Now, not type 1 diabetes, where you're born with not enough insulin cells, etc. You can't cure that. But type 2 diabetes, the far more common diabetes, where basically over the years, there's insulin resistance and other metabolic changes that ultimately then cause you to have persistently high blood sugars, which will kill you. No, that you can cure. And for that, you need to know your food. For that, you need to know your nutrition. And for that, you can go onto a journey. And that is so important. Have you seen that in your journey, Laurell?
Oh, absolutely. So one of the first people I coached, she was diabetic. She was on insulin. She was quite a bit overweight. She was a nurse and she thought she was doing everything right. Yeah, she had every reason to think she was doing everything right. She was a nurse, right? But her blood sugar just continued to climb. Plus she had all this weirdness of fibromyalgia, all these things people couldn't explain, weird pain, you know. So she followed my advice. She lost, it's well over 50 pounds now, but she got off insulin and all those weird pains, they went away, right? So that's not everybody, but it is, David lost 27 pounds in 10 weeks. Now that wasn't his goal. His goal was to lower his A1C and get off metformin, right? Within 12 weeks, which is that period of time when they can check you again, the doctor said, you don't need metformin anymore, right? So there it is. Now, is he still technically diabetic? Oh yeah, we could go back and forth and say, right? But as long as he's eating this way, again, it is sustainable. He can eat until he's full, right? And we can bring some other things back into the diet. I don't want to make it seem like you can't ever eat quinoa or oatmeal or, you know, you can eat those things, right? But yeah, so it's been my experience. I've had one woman, and this isn't in regard to diabetes, but it is in regard to blood pressure, just by drinking more water and adding in some green smoothies. In 2 weeks, her blood pressure went down 20 points.
Guess what? When you're constantly dehydrated, what does your body think? Oh my God, it's an emergency because there's not enough water around. I will die within 24, 48 hours. I better get my blood pressure higher because we need to find that water. So there's all going on in the subconscious. That's all going in your reptilian brain. It doesn't even hit the subconscious. And there you go. So that is one of the little tricks there. And we sort of take it for granted. And it amazes me how easily I get into that trap. And I'm sorry, guys, it is, if you think, I don't know why I'm so dehydrated, it is because you're getting older. And older is defined as more than 18, honestly. From the mid-20s, you lose your thirst. So from the mid-20s onwards, you can no longer clearly distinguish the clear sensation of thirst or that vague sensation, I need something. And you think, I need something, it must be food. So there you go. Whilst instead, what your body is craving is water because you try like a bloody prune. And so therefore, how about you actually trying to drink heaps of water and actually see what happens? Weird story from the 80s. I keep telling that in similar shows. So if you haven't heard it before, forgive me. If you have heard it, it is basically a small town in Germany. The mayor was the owner of the only hotel. The mayor and the hotelier wanted to get more visitors into that small town. And he had a well underneath his property. So he had all this water. So he put the water into tanks, then took a big mechanical drill and drilled the water. And then he said, I have put energy into that water. So if you come and stay in my hotel and drink 3 liters of water every day, you're going to be so energized because of my energy-rich water that I'm going to give you. And so people were flocking to him. It was sold out all the time. And German television came there and equally interviewed people and thought, what's going on here? And people are saying, oh God, I feel so much better. This water is magic. His energy-rich water. Wow, I'm awake, I'm alert, oh, brilliant. What do you do normally? Oh, I'm a secretary. Okay, do you drink much water at home? No, I hate the stuff. I drink 12 cups of coffee, and in the evening I enjoy a nice glass of wine. Really? Okay, there's the true story, absolute true story.
I love that story.
Exactly. You don't need a big drill. You don't need your own well under your property. You need to bloody drink the water. Okay. As long as it's healthy, go to the tap and just drink your tap water. If you're not healthy in the wherever you live right now, please boil the water and still have the water. Okay.
Yes. Oh, I love that story. That's so funny. The body is limited in its ability to tell us exactly what it needs, right? I wish there was a digital readout, we could
Exactly.
Look at it. Water.
And it's so tricky, isn't it? It is because, and it's not just the water. The problem is that our body is a highly, highly tuned machine. I mean, consider a Ferrari. Now, a Ferrari is a very simple piece of mechanics compared with your body. Now, there's zinc and selenium and all these kind of little things that if you don't provide it to the body will actually develop not a nice engine. So things will go pear-shaped. So nutrition is not just the macronutrients, not just the fat, the protein, the carbohydrates. And alcohol, by the way, is not a macronutrient, just for the record, okay? So, no, and so you've got the macronutrients, but it's also the micronutrients, and that's where the real food comes in. That's where actually maybe also supplements come in. So whilst we earlier said you don't want to be someone who wants to sell his products, equally, if you have a lifelong history of eating not nice things, then your body is behind so much. And if you live, for example, like me in New Zealand, our soil is very poor in selenium and zinc. So virtually everyone here is zinc depleted. And zinc is one of the key nutrients, micronutrients that you need for many, many enzyme systems. So therefore, we're not saying, hey, you don't need supplements. Chances are you do need supplements, actually. And you might need supplements at particular times in your life when things are changing, when you're going for an operation. Well, I always say to my patients, you could do far worse than actually have a month of a multivitamin to actually really stock up all those things that you need in order for your body to heal itself. Now, if you now do extrapolate that and say, I need all these things in order to heal myself, well, your body needs to heal itself every day. So would it not make sense that you eat really well and then actually have those things so that the body can heal itself and that you don't end up with absolute poor quality heart, joints, anything else in your body by the time you hit 55? And I want to come back, please, to that you can reverse it. Okay. I lived a life that was full of abuse in many forms. And I've got a medal. I was on a podium as, how to abuse your body. And I thought, shit, I must have left many, many scars. Amongst other things, I've got poor genes as far as my heart is concerned. My father died of his 5th or 6th heart attack. And yeah, so I thought, oh shit, I'm in my 50s now. So I did a calcium score, which is it's a CT scan where they take slices of your heart through imaging and then look at the amount of calcium that is sitting in the coronary arteries, which bring the blood and the oxygen to the heart. So if they are clogged up, well, that's heart attack area. So we've got some trepidation. Shall I say I was shit scared for the result? I waited and the result came back and I thought they had read the wrong scan because my coronaries were clean as a whistle. And I thought, no way, with the way I've abused my body, no way. What I did not take into consideration was that the last 7 years, I had turned my life around. I was eating the right food. I was giving myself all the right nutritional additives, so to speak, but not the nasty additives, but the zinc, the selenium, all those kind of things. And suddenly my body had actually healed itself, at least in the coronaries. And I thought, wow, how the hell can I be so lucky? It's not really lucky. I took action. I listened to people like Laurell. I listened to people who had been there, had put the time and energy in there to learn about the body. And I took note and thought, okay, that makes actually sense. And I put changes in place. Not all the time. I'm not no Mother Teresa. I'm for sure have got my weak times, but in general times, I have put my money where my mouth is, shall I say. And that was the best thing. So my HbA1c, which is, or you called it A1c, which is the marker for diabetes or for healthy blood sugar in your system, is low. My cholesterol low. Everything tickety-boo, exactly the way I want it, which is beautiful, which is absolutely beautiful. But it is because I listened to the right people and I made the right changes in my life. And for that, I'm grateful. So it takes for you guys to listen. It takes for you guys to make a conscious decision that you're sick of being sick, and it takes action.
Yeah.
And not just any willy-nilly, but it takes a plan. It takes a coordinated kind of a stepwise approach. And without that, you're probably failing because you're dabbling a bit here, trying a bit there. Let's add a smoothie there, and you think that's it. No, it's probably not working out. Okay, so if you wanted to learn how to run a restaurant, what would you do? You would probably go to someone who has successfully run a restaurant. So how about you going to someone who is successfully running their lives at a moment when it comes to their nutrition and asking them, hey, what would work? So therefore, and as it so happens, today we've got Laurell on the show. So Laurell,
Right.
if people actually think, yeah, shit, what he's saying makes sense, and they want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Yes, they should go to bodyupcoaching.com. And actually, we have a special discount for your listeners. I should tell them about that, right?
Come on, go for it.
Okay, so when they enter the coupon code into the light 21, they will get a 25% discount off the 12-week program, or off private coaching if they would prefer doing that. And you're going to get all the mindset pieces as well as all the nutritional pieces, and these come together. We need both of these, right? If not, I could send everyone an email and just say, well, just go ahead. You have the information now. Go ahead and schedule your photo shoot for Fitness Magazine, because there it is, right? It's great because it's step by step. Behavioral psychologists love my program because we're making small incremental changes, and we're doing hand holding, right? They're watching videos. It's a video program combined with live coaching. So and they get support, right? And yes.
Laurell, thank you very, very much. I mean, for making that available to 25% off. That is, money is not growing on trees out there, and at the moment, for many people, life is difficult. So, but at the same token, for many people, life is so difficult that they're so far out of their comfort zone that they're ready to take action. And that is the most beautiful place to be. You're sick of being sick. You're sick of being the person you are, and you think, nah, there must be something more out there. And if you feel that, congratulations, your life is about to change. Now find the right tribe, find the right people in your power team. Be the stupidest idiot in this power team. Surround yourself with people who know far more about various things than you do. A psychologist, a life coach, a nutritional coach, if you want to do some more body work, then a physiotherapist to start off with, an osteopath, a chiropractor, your GP. Check out your body before you're going nuts when you're in the mid-50s and try to do the splits in 3 days' time. Probably not. So just, don't hurt yourself. And the same thing is, don't hurt yourself with nutrition. Don't try to do things that are actually for someone who knows what he's doing is just shaking his head and saying, no, I could have told you different. Why learn the hard lessons yourself when you can surround yourself with people who actually know what the hell you're doing? Why try to reinvent the wheel? So here you go. I mean, that's the lesson I've learned the hard way, because I thought I'm clever. I'm a doctor. I know it all. Come on. Yeah, right. God, and that's a whole different story. If you want to know a bit more about that, my book, Steps to Sobriety, is coming out in its second edition very soon. So it is maybe even by the time we're airing this interview, it might now be out there. But it is, the first edition was this kind of hybrid textbook on alcohol and a few stories of mine. And now I've got a publisher, and she actually says, stop hiding behind the textbook shit. Just tell us your story. That's what we want to know. And okay, so I'm actually writing, and I'm far more exploring my own past, because that is really, those are the reasons why I was drinking. Those are the reasons why I'm craving sugar. Those are the reasons why bad nutrition can actually be a cross addiction. So you've dealt with the smoking, and now what? If you have not dealt with the underlying issues that drove you to smoking or to drinking or to whatever, it's quite likely that you might actually end up rather ballooning like mad, because you're treating now, you're getting the high from the sugar again. And if you felt yourself being in that shoes, in that set of shoes, please, again, Laurell will be able to help you there, because that's where the hands holding comes in. There are other dimensions, rather than just, oh yeah, you just need to eat more broccoli. No. Okay, so yes. So please, and Laurell, I'm so grateful that you were able to touch with me, to touch upon all these things, all these layers that are actually intricate, like a woven garment. You can't just think, oh, there's one thread, let's just pull a bit and see what happens. No, you need to understand actually the whole picture. And that is where people like you, Laurell, can be of such help there. So thank you so much for coming onto my show today, because we could sort of hopefully plant the seed into the minds of people, and make them realize how important nutrition is, and how important your well-being is. And please do not forget, guys out there, as much as nerve cells are sitting up there, as many nerve cells by weight in your brain has, as many nerves are sitting in your gut. Okay, so we have not even touched upon the mental health aspects of good nutrition. That in its own right would be a complete different slant, different take on things. Today it's Survival Tuesday. We want to give you solutions, and we have shown you the solutions. So therefore, go out there and change your life. And if you feel that maybe you could do better with someone guiding you and being with you on that path for a little while, well, Laurell is there, and look down there. Her details are in the description of the video and of the podcast. Don't be shy. What the hell could you possibly do wrong by getting in touch with her? Sorry, say again? No, okay, yeah, no, I don't hear it either. There's nothing there that you could do wrong. Nothing, actually, you take action, and that is a powerful first step. So look, guys, change your life. Life is too short, and you guys can do it. I could get my shit together. Actually, Laurell, it's a shame that we can't show you the picture that she sort of secretly showed me there. Laurell was a big girl, but she did all the right things. She fought, and then it took a long path of learning, realizing, collecting data, and assimilating it up there, and coming up with a system. That system works because there she sits there,
Thank you. And what we were saying in our right before we started recording, we're here to help people, right? And when you've gone through something like, and I want to help everyone, really. I wish I could. When I see people that are starving or they're sick, right? They're starving themselves because they think that's their only option, or they're sick, or, and I'm actually, I wish it was appropriate in every situation to be like, oh my God, I can help you. Please, God, I can help you. I can help you. You don't have to suffer. Like, that's what's going on inside. And then I realized, I'm like, okay, I can't, it's inappropriate. But, this gives me the opportunity, right? It gives us the opportunity to say, please,
exactly.
Let me help you, because this information, it's so simple. I would have paid anything for this information. Like we said in the beginning, look at all the suffering I went through. And so, you know, it just digging and wondering, like, is this true? Is that true? I don't, it's all like a big unknown, right? Until I started reading these studies on metabolism from I think I mentioned Dr. David Ludwig is a really great, great source for, you know, and that was, you know, someday I will meet him and I will genuflect. I will do Wayne's World, We're Not Worthy. And I will tell him, do you know, if I didn't come across a YouTube video interview where you were talking about how you were feeding rats. I don't know how much time, I know we're trying to wrap this up, but with 2 groups of rats, and the object of the study was to keep them the same weight. And one of them was getting a white potato, fast-acting carbohydrate from white potato. And the other, he was giving beans, still a carbohydrate, but it doesn't spike your insulin as much. And after a few weeks, the white potato group, he had to feed them less food to keep them the same weight as the other rats. Interesting. By the end of the study, the white potato group, barely eating, and the same weight as the other rats. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm that rat. I'm the rat who's eating less than everyone else and still gaining weight, right? And then the kicker of the whole thing was, even though they weighed exactly the same at the end of the study, the fast-acting carbohydrate group, the white potato group, had 70% more fat on their bodies.
There it is.
And there it is. And it's not like the other, which means the other rats, the healthier rats, not only had a better metabolism, they had more muscle on their bodies. And it's not like they were in a little rat gym, right? It's not like they had a little rat personal trainer in there. So the body is actually making more muscle when you're eating healthy, right? So I tell people, let's talk about your waist measurement. Let's talk about reducing fat. We don't really care about that number on the scale. We care about you getting healthy, which will simultaneously create this effect that you want, and the effect of burning unnecessary fat off your body. But had I not found Dr. David Ludwig, God knows what would have happened to me. And then that eventually got me into all this research, which I compiled, and you saw my pictures and how I lost 5 inches on my waist in almost no time at all. So,
and here you are. Laurell had the motivator. She found somewhere a catalyst, something made her change. She then took massive action in the right way and implemented things, not in one big false swoop, but little things, and grew and became the healthier version of herself, the version that she is proud of now. How cool is that? So who do you want to be when you grow up? That is the question for you that you need to answer. Now, I know I have a vision of what I want to be, and I'm working towards that on multiple dimensions. But my food is part and parcel of that, and for that I'm grateful. So, Laurell, thank you so much for being on my show. This was a beautiful interview, and I'm honored and I'm humbled. That's great.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to share this information. Thank
Absolutely. You guys out there, look after yourself and stay strong. Hey, bye.